honestly, I think it's the smartest thing Stuttering John ever did is to remove himself. Like if he wasn't handling it well, he removed himself for 8 months. Now, what makes him a fucking moron is that he said, I can't handle this. And then immediately came back and did a show where he's just reading super chats and arguing with them from people who hate him.
Yes. My favorite was when he was on, what is it, MSCS or whatever the hell that was?
Yes, Tony.
Wasted, right?
Yeah. With the alien, yes.
Right? Yes. And he gets up there and he goes, let me tell you something, Tommy.
Oh, I love when he gets serious.
He's like, Howard never, he said he didn't give a fuck about my career.
I love Serious John when he's like, you don't want to do that, do you, Baba Booey? Oh, you don't want no part of this brain. Like this menacing. He thinks because he hung out with who is it, John Gotti Jr. that he hung out with?
Right.
Yeah, so he thinks he's a mobster now.
Right. I know a lot of people, Tommy.
Like, my daddy was an engineer, so I'm smart too. It's in the DNA.
You know, it kind of rubbed off on me, Tommy. I knew everything he knew, but better.
I'm trying to think of who your impression sounds more like. It is very mob movie-esque. Yours.
Well, that was when John was wasted out of his mind.
Yeah.
On there, he was slow, like drooling out of his face.
It's well, now
he's very juicy.
Let's get into it. Enough setting this bit up.
Yeah, let's start hitting some balls.
I'm late to the party here. This is it was on. The reason I'm playing a lot of these clips today is because I was on Who Are These Podcasts last week, and we didn't get to some of these. I'm surprised Carl wasn't more intrigued by some routes that John took, because I think it's directly related to Carl. So I figured we'd break these down. So where are we starting here, Hack Ride? This was the day after. So for those of you that missed it, John went on with Carl about almost 2 weeks ago at this point, and basically said, this is it. This is my last hurrah. I'm going to do battle with Carl, and I'm going to step away forever and go back to teaching.
His swan song.
Exactly, yes. So long, folks. This world ain't for Johnny anymore.
Yeah,
But a lot happens in 36 hours. You know, a lot can change. A man changes in that amount of time.
Who is this fella on the right? Who's DG?
He is the worst. We're going to get to DG.
Okay.
He's the worst.
Oh, boy.
I don't mean, listen, we've covered plenty of bad you can say what you want about me as a broadcaster. There are plenty of broadcasters out there that are bad. When I say Dave is a horrendous it's just it's milquetoast. It's the most bland, banal statements. He's boring. He's got the charisma of an old tennis shoe.
Is he just one of the guys who just wants to be nice for being nice sake because he thinks you're supposed to be nice?
I guess so, but I also get the sense he's scheming something out of John. He has intentions that are
look at his face.
Perhaps. He is selling his brother's book. That is his scheme. He is a nice man, Dave. Let's not beat on him too hard.
Really?
Hackrat is a friend. I'm sorry.
Yes, he is a friend. He has helped me on the Joycey show.
He's a great guy. Then I'm sorry.
DG is a great guy now.
Well, he's a perfect man to have at the end of a Zoom call. I don't know about this online thing, though, but he is a great man, and that is all I'll say. Now, continue.
All right, so where are we starting with these clips?
I'm just reading his face, and I feel like I need to watch my wallet.
Hackrod?
Sorry, Mike Walker is where we are starting.
Okay, yeah, so this was one of his big bones of contention. Carl's point, I guess Mike Walker wrote something in his book, basically saying that Jay Leno, when he realized the deal they had made with John, was furious because the people at the Tonight Show thought they were getting this brilliant mind, the mind behind Howard Stern's red carpet questions. All those famous bits with Ringo Starr and Tommy Lasorda and, countless others. They thought they were getting, the mind behind that when they brought John on. Turns out they weren't. Jackie, Fred, and Howard wrote most, if not all, of those questions. And so Mike Walker wrote in his book that Jay Leno was furious when he realized all this.
Well, just a little context for Mike Walker there. I don't know if you guys were listeners of the Stern Show when Mike Walker would actually come on and do something called the Mike Walker game, right? So
Howard respected him at least somewhat. So
Some
National
journalistic
Enquirer,
integrity, yeah.
they had a lot of sensational headlines. All of them probably weren't accurate. But Carl's point was Mike Walker has to be somewhat truthful, because if a lot of the shit that he said, if there was no truth to it, he'd be sued into oblivion for defamation. So John really ran with this bit and attacked Carl for this.
You claim that what you read about me from Mike Walker, the perennial bullshit artist, editor of the National Enquirer, happened to be factual information about my Tonight Show experience. David, I'm going to ask
Those liver spots on his head. What are those on his head?
On John's head?
Yeah, on John.
Oh, God only knows what strain of some rare disease, leprosy, or who knows what John has encountered.
Just another quick notice right out of the gate is that Mike Walker is actually Mike Walker. It's not, he's doing the air quotes. With his head. Yeah,
Carlos pointing this out. I always
Walker.
missed him, unfortunately.
Yeah.
I can't say, but yeah. He doesn't know what Mike Walker. It's like in his mind, it means like, I guess it means like as if that's anybody. Like Mike Walker's not famous, but that's not what air quotes are. I don't know why he's using them that way.
I think he's trying to open a portal to the story when he does this.
Mike Walker even exists.
Yeah, I don't even think it's air quotes. I think it's some kind of a magic that we're missing.
All right, so we heard John set up. Now, I've studied John Melendez. A very astute observation here. When he says things to his guest, like, Dave, I ask you, I think John already had his mind made up on what the answer is going to be. So let's hear it.
Who do you think would be more experienced on what transpired with my hiring at the Tonight Show? Me or the National Enquirer? Who would you say?
Which he bought for the episode.
I gotta say, you probably
Dave
would
is
have
so
to be a
bad.
better source of information.
Thank you. So, I will tell you the real story, but let's get into what Carla said.
Hold on, pause 1 second. So the idea that John would know, like to say, like if Kirk Minahan talked to a reporter and was like, I really thought we were going to get more out of Mike. Like he sucks on the show. I hate him. I wish we never hired him, which he said on the show before. So he doesn't need to talk to a reporter. But hypothetically, if you were to say that to some reporter, you couldn't then go to me and say, well, don't you think I would know if secretly people didn't want me there? No, of course not. You'd be the last person to find out.
Right. It would happen by accident if you found out.
Yes. They say these things behind your back, John.
Right.
John doesn't understand that people will talk behind his back. Like, honestly, the people in that chat that he calls liars and hypocrites, those are the only people in his life being truthful to him 100% of the time.
You ever wonder, John, why all the doors were closed at the Tonight Show?
Why you were in the fifth row of the audience?
Well, yeah. All the doors in the back are closed while you're in the building.
All right, let's finish this out.
They didn't get the guy they hired, and all of this and everything, right? That was his premise. And I said, well, let me see. When I got divorced, let me see if I could find that article. When I got
good example coming.
They claimed that Susanna that Beth wrote Susanna off because I left.
Why is she Susanna now? And she's Susanna before. What happened?
Show, right?
I believe that was the article did say that.
Yes.
Why does Dave, Ackroyd, you're his best friend. You might have some insight into this. Why does Dave always talk like he's giving John legal counsel? Like he's on the stand for the fucking I believe, Senator, yes, I believe that is correct.
He titles himself the consigliere of the Joey C network. So I think it is in that answer. He sees himself as the man, behind John, behind Kevin. He's the man next to the man. So he can't be super interesting, you understand? Or it
John
outshines
Melendez
the man.
says this. John Melendez says that.
Yes.
It was all lies.
DG will be Putin's right-hand man.
You want a fresh
Mr.
one?
Pantangeli.
Will you please tell Frankie Five Angels? You're gonna be just fine, Frankie Five Angels. You know what the old Romans used to do?
All right. Was there more to that?
The truth of the matter is, David,
Uh-oh.
is my wife.
Not what I'm
Oh,
about
here
to
it is. Here it is. Look at that. Seek and the Lord will provide. Hold on. I'm gonna
It'll
see if
only
I can
take me
blow it up
40
so we
minutes.
can see it. So I don't know if we can read it, but this was. I don't know how I could pull the whole thing up. Let me see. if
God
there's a
forbid you have
way.
your evidence
We get the
prepared.
thing in full screen here. Bear with me. Let me.
Don't have the show ready or anything.
This is the only time I have ever had empathy for stuttering.
Let me see if I can get it. I can't seem to get it in full screen. I don't know why.
He is just.
Oh
there's
yeah,
a
Carl.
lot
That's
going
probably
on in his
because I'm
mouth.
not. Okay. So here we go. Let's share the screen.
Here's my
okay?
frosting gun.
Okay, hold on. Let me stop this one, and then let's go to my divorce. Now,
Listen to him
Carla.
vamping, trying to find it.
here is my divorce. Can you see
And
Ah,
let me
yes.
tell you, I went
Yep.
to the Yankees game.
There it is. Now I don't think I could read it, but
It's readable. It's
okay.
legible.
That's
What?
fine.
There's a corporate Dave again. It's all legible there, John. Actually, if I'm going, yes, Your Honor, I do believe that is legible.
Seriously, I mean, he pulls up the article. Where did he even get that hard copy of the National Enquirer? Did he have that? Are they still for sale? What he held one up. Where'd he get
John collects everything, John.
That's a
saw
good
this-
point. Yeah,
I
it's
saw this one-
probably the actual one they wrote about him.
Yes,
Well,
no,
I-
it was yellow. The paper was yellow, like it had been stored in a location with damp other things for a long time.
I saw a retweet of a photo that he had that was in some kind of frame behind glass on Twitter. I don't know. It was a picture with a celebrity or something. Literally looked like cocaine was dusted all over the thing, and he just sort of brushed it off to take the picture
was a rock
of the
star.
picture. Yeah.
Yes,
Here's a
That
picture of
is
the
Nick.
Polaroid.
yes. Nikki Six did cocaine off this, so I will never wash it. This is a famous Nikki Six this line, and other people did other lines. I can't remember. I was too high.
Now
I
here's
stole
why
it
I'll
from
never wash
Morton
my
Downey
carpet.
Jr. set.
All right. Now, if I remember correctly, Heckrod, you probably don't like the title of this next clip, right?
Yeah, it is an opinion.
Well, it's another example of our pal Dave.
What's his point? Like, I mean, I thought with most of it I thought there was some okay back and forth in that interview, but I mean,
Well-
what's his point? I'm just curious. Like, honestly, what do you think his point is talking about your divorce? I mean, he's just trying to make a point that you guys broke up because of the whole going over to Saturday Night. Or to
Land the
Tonight
plane,
Show.
Dave. Let's
Yeah,
get there.
let's get in there.
Is that his point?
Run out of fuel.
I'm sorry, Dave.
Is that his
John's
point?
mystified.
Oh my God.
The fuck are you
I
talking
get
about?
showing that, but maybe I'm being a little bit too. Maybe I'm thinking about it too much. But like, his point in bringing up all this was to prove what?
Because he was saying that Mike Walker, the editor of the Enquirer, the same guy who gave us this wonderful story. Hold on. The same guy. Hold on. I'm finding it. Where is it? I
Boy.
have it
Why not
up
have these
there.
ready? It's fine.
The
It's
same guy
fine.
that gave us.
Tabs. Open a tab.
It's fine to do. Like, we'll do stuff on the show, and I'll vamp for a minute while Craig looks for something, or I'll bust Craig's balls for not having something ready. Whatever. Like, it's fine to do that. It can't be your whole show. When the show's intention, it would be like if this show, instead of playing clips of Stuttering John, I was Googling the word Stuttering John and trying to read it from this distance.
I mean, it is so close to dead air. It really is. It's just right there on the same. It's on the same thing. When you are just vamping because you're ill prepared. Now things happen. You might have a glitch. Things might happen in the software. Whatever. You got to be prepared for that. As a self-produced show, I understand what can happen. But man, he is really taking a long time.
Even when he pulls it up, he's like, it's not readable, but still you get the gist.
I mean, I don't know how to zoom in, if you know what I mean. He just talks into the microphone. Camera, zoom, enhance.
Go ahead, Hackrat.
Story. The coronavirus cures finally found. And warning, surgical masks
I actually believe
spread
that, by the way.
infection.
You know, there are
Bigfoot
people
kept
who are
Lumberjack
literally-
as a love slave? What?
Yes,
But
we are
that's his-
we're missing the lead. That is the lead right there.
That's the one. Jesus. Whoa.
We got to pay more attention to this COVID story, for Christ's sake.
looking at this right now, probably in the chat or in the audience, who are saying that at least those two things are possibly true. Like,
Yes. Miracle.
John has plays Dave on the pay no mind list. This is what's rude. Now, listen. No one respects Dave less than me in the podcasting world. But what's
Now watch yourself.
incredibly, Dave's, I'm sure he's a great guy.
It's marvelous. These a lot of guns.
So, then he's a terrific guy. He's very.
But he
he's very-
always talks about.
He's very quick, Dave. I like him, and he gets right to the point, and he says controversial things. He has hot takes on things.
His head takes up a lot of the frame.
But what's amazing about John, and he does this to our friend, the Army Major, all the time. He's so rude to Richard Ojeda, and it's very frustrating to watch because the co-host or sidekick or whatever he is, someone that John has invited on, will say something, make a point, ask a question, and to Dave's credit, again, Dave, great broadcaster. I asked a question, a somewhat legitimate question. To be fair, my intentions were somewhat impure. But we did an episode of Why You Laughing coming out soon with Drew Lane from the Drew and Mike Show, who's an old school radio guy. And the topic was, we broke down the Howard Stern show from September 11th, 2001. And I didn't realize John was a big part of that day. He was in the room, and he keeps trying to steer the conversation back to Pam Anderson while the Twin Towers are burning down. And so I thought it was a fascinating little bit of history. We broke it down. And in John's chat, I asked him, any memories from that day? And Dave says, ooh, good question. And John goes, yeah, anyways, I come buckets. Thanks for the $5. And moves on. And I was like, John, it would be an interesting show if you answered my fucking question.
Yeah, that was, it just doesn't have the capacity. There's not enough room in the hard drive for him to turn that over. Also when, very similar to Casey Armstrong. I don't know if you watch him at all. We cover him a bit on Ripcast.
Oh, I love
Hackrat
Casey
tells me you're a big fan.
Armstrong.
Oh
Yeah.
boy, let me tell you something. There is a certain amount of room in his head, and very much like a long bus that needs to make a U-turn, he has limited space in here. So sometimes the turn just doesn't, he doesn't quite complete the turn. Same with John.
Right.
I wonder if something was in the water there at the Stern show.
Yes, and let me clue you in on a upcoming battle between Vinny the lawyer and Casey Armstrong. It is going to be a doozy.
Live today?
That would be a good fight. Vinny pumps weight, and Casey is wet brain, so it would be a good fight.
That guy, Vince, is a real asshole too, huh?
Vince is the worst.
Yeah, he seems like.
Well, I mean, these guys get on and they talk about this fight that they want to have. Okay, so Casey and John want to have a boxing match.
Oh, that's good. That'll be healthy for John. That's smart.
Well,
Yes,
dude,
yes.
listen, neither one of these guys are going to get cleared to do a fight. What are they talking about?
Yes.
Casey is on 6 kinds of medication,
Yes,
Right.
he is
Including-
5150.
including lithium. He's got TBIs. He's got head injuries. He thinks that he's going to get medically cleared for a fight.
Right.
John is almost 60, has probably, he has liver, he probably has cirrhosis.
I mean,
this
John would
point.
be whatever fight commission would have to evaluate that would think it was a joke. If John was like, may I please fight in a sanctioned event?
I would still put my money on John's chimpanzee-like strength.
I will say, I think there are states where it's much easier. I know when Rough and Rowdy started, I think there were states it was a lot easier to get, let's say, the type of person that John is, passed for a physical to fight. So
I
there are
say we
states
put
they
him
can
on-
do it.
Just put them on street beefs. Have you guys seen street beefs? It's like they put an octagon in a backyard and just rednecks from all over the place just start to thump on each other in this
There you
thing.
go.
It's amazing.
All right. What's next, Hack Rod? Let's start firing through these a little more.
Next, we have your chat.
Oh, good. Yeah, I put a little plug for Why Are You Laughing here.
I was, by the way, blocked by Richard Ojeda.
What?
Yeah, he blocked me because.
What did you do? What did you do to our friend?
Here's the thing: is that
you get the hell out, Hack Rod, get him out of here.
Let me just tell you what happened. He posted something, and and it was about something about I'm not a political guy. I don't like that stuff. That's not my thing.
Sure.
I'm really not. I just don't like corruption. So he posted something, and I said, well, here's this thing about something that happened with Beau Biden when he was the Attorney General of Delaware. He let go one of the DuPonts who committed a horrible crime against his own daughter, if you know what I mean.
You were being a jackaloon is what you were doing.
I was a bit of a jackaloon that day.
Yeah,
I was
okay.
jackaloonish.
All right.
So, all the respect to Richard Ojeda for his service, though.
We'll try to. We'll get you unblocked. We'll see. What
I will get you unblocked, my friend.
Thank you. Yeah, we just got into it a little bit, and he saw me as a jackaloon indeed.
Okay. All right. Yeah.
So how about all those medals that he has? That guy. Wow.
He's an impressive guy. I don't know if I care for your tone. He's a very impressive man.
No, he has all in like a big frame behind him, right?
Yes. We do not speak ill of the man that may be strapped to Mike at 18,000 feet.
He's a great. Oh, we got to get to that too. I forgot about that.
Oh, yes, we will get to that. We will get to that.
It was a compliment.
Yeah. All right, let's hear my super chat because this invoked a man who, frankly, an evil man tried to get my podcast shut down after this comment.
Mike, thanks for the $5. Then why are you laughing, covered Stern on 9/11?
Oh, this is it.
You remember much from that episode?
Very good question.
Why are you laughing? What is that?
I'm sure it's some kind of other show or podcast or something like that.
Yeah. So, and I'm not done yet at all. I love this guy's name. I lick log cutters.
See, John just breezes by.
Yeah.
Someone jingled keys in front of him. Ooh, I lick log cutters is talking to me.
What a great name.
Yes, that is my new favorite.
Yeah, so
that's like Detroit double dickin' 41.
So I tried to get John to talk about the glory days of 9/11, as we all remember them, and he didn't. But someone picked up on my super chat a little later.
Right.
Blind Mike sent a super chat to you earlier, and he made you read something horrible.
Oh, really?
Yes. Be careful with Blind Mike.
Okay. Well, thank you, Carter. Thanks for looking out. That's
He actually invented the Nick G thing in super chats. That was all Blind Mike.
What was that? The laughing comment?
Yes, that show, Why Are You Laughing, is horrible. Nobody should go and watch that.
Okay. All right, thank you.
Cardiff?
You're more in the know in the Dabbleverse.
That's a Cardiff endorsement as far as I'm concerned.
I don't know this stuff.
So the reason I wanted to show that is, first of all, to show what a snake Cardiff is.
Well, I had him on the show with I had him on Ripcast with Corndiff. That's there, we had to have extra security.
Did he sell me out there too? Did he badmouth Why Are You Laughing?
Everybody. He threw everybody under that potato bus.
He can't be trusted. But mainly what I wanted to display was that you can just tell John whatever. Like the idea that he was on a show that used that name 30 years ago in prank calls. The idea that I invented it. And John's like, oh, really? He's Mr. Gurr. You don't say.
Nicholas himself.
All right. But
Nick visits every chat. I hope people know that.
He's gotten popular. Nick has made the rounds lately. He is in a lot
like
of chats.
Santa Claus.
Yeah. I got to say, though, with those, I don't love the ones where it's like, it has to be a name still. Like someone named I Lick Log Cutters. That's not a believable name.
That's an AI generated name. I'm convinced.
All right, what's next, Hack Rod?
Next up, we have trans jokes.
Oh.
Okay, so we're getting here. This is where I'm surprised Carl didn't have more clips in this direction, only because Carl is the one that I believe really struck a nerve here. So Carl mentioned, and I've heard him mention this before, but he mentioned with John that what's the guy's name? Dan Filato? Is that his name? Artie Lange's old producer? When he was producing for Artie's show, John came on and they did an episode where John got wasted. And it was around the time of his kid's transition. And John made all sorts of jokes that would be deemed transphobic. Now, you're about to hear John kind of defend the idea that times have changed. And you guys know, listening to this show, I 100% agree. There's jokes that you would have made 10 years ago that in today's world, you shouldn't be judged for making those jokes because the meaning and the intent were totally different than we would take them now. So I agree with him. The point that he is missing is that Carl's only point was John saying, don't make fun of my kids, when John went on a pretty big podcast at that time with a pretty viciously funny guy in Artie Lange and presented this subject as if it was ripe for humor. That's where the hypocrisy comes into play.
Oh, yeah.
So John, when he was on with Carl, said, this never happened. I have no memory of that. I think Dave whispered into his ear, and then John said, I have no memory of that. And finally, it seems like John's trying to maybe get ahead of that audio possibly coming out someday.
My daughter came out as a lesbian in high school, and she got bullied immensely, and
that was just at home.
Called me and
that's a big punch.
You do that, John.
Hold on.
Oh, you both did it. You and Cardiff both stepped on John's joke.
I'll try again. My daughter got bullied like crazy, and the school's principal had to call me and tell me to stop. Okay. Now, I would make jokes like that. And I asked my daughter if I can.
I apologize for stepping on your punchline.
Yes. And I asked my daughter if I could make jokes about the one that I use with the interview with Carla, where I'm looking at the hot chick. And I'm like, holy shit. You know, my daughter's going to see me staring at a hot chick. And then I look over and she's like this and she's looking. So those are jokes. And I said, could I use that stuff? She goes, yes, of course, Dad. So when my daughter came out as transgender,
like that, please. You got to pay the bills somehow, Dad. And it's going to be with humor like that.
I mean, if we get you some more super chats, Dad, you do what you got to do.
So what we're watching John do here is what pathological liars do, and I dealt with a few in my day, where you present a topic to them, and they slowly over time shift it. Now, the great pathological liars do it so well that you don't even notice they're doing it. Unfortunately, John's not smart, so he doesn't have that ability. Like
he's not what you call masterful.
There are people, and even pathological liars is probably the wrong word. There are just people that are great at arguing that will shift the argument. And I think that's one of the things Stern was great at, where he would kind of present things in a way that now you're arguing about something different and you don't even realize it. That's what John is attempting to do. But he waited till Carl was gone, which kind of disproves the point that he's making. But also he's changing the argument. No one said his bits on stage would get him in trouble at home. They said that this podcast that got scrubbed with Artie Lange that Dan Filato has access to, apparently, that's what they think is going to get you in trouble with your family, and that John doesn't want out there.
He gets a little loose after a few.
A little bit.
Do jokes as well. So that's why I would do jokes on stage. My first response is, what are you, an airline? Now,
boom!
The joke in question, this is where I win for 5 strikes now. Here we go. This is where I win again. Mm-hmm. I used to do a joke.
Hold on. Sorry. Right. Can I just say where John's quote influence, and why are you laughing? I talk about this all the time. There's a very fine line between influence and ripoff. And it's really about how creative and unique the person is. Like Mark Normand, clearly, you could hear him say one word. Based on his voice, you could probably guess that he's influenced by Jerry Seinfeld and Norm Macdonald. Clearly. But he's funny enough and unique enough on his own that he's carved out a brand for himself. What John is doing here is so transparently Howard. Like he's so clearly trying to be Howard, it just in the way that he's speaking. If you go back just a couple seconds to set that up again, because like all I think of is him trying to be Howard here when he makes these arguments, because he's like, check out the big brain on John, that sort of a thing, where he's like, this is why you can't compete with this. When guys like Howard Stern do this, guys like Kirk Minahan, guys like Dave Portnoy, who even though like Portnoy presents as like a dumb guy, but I think is a genius. And I'm not just saying that because he says he doesn't hate me anymore. But he like these
He's
guys
cooled on you, Mike. He's cool.
Yeah. I'm not just saying it because of that. But these guys, the three guys I just mentioned, and plenty of others that are great at broadcasting, are able to say, hey, you can't compete with this because the audience believes it. John is looking at people that have no respect for him and saying, you want to tango with this mind? You want to go toe to toe with the master? It's like, yeah, I'm very confident in doing that.
Let me pull apart this Rubik's Cube and put it back together and show you how smart I am.
Mensa.
The joke in question, this is where I win for 5 strikes now. Here we go. This is where I win again.
Jesus Christ.
I used to do a joke, which is inappropriate now. Okay? So the joke was, and this is before.
Oh, come on.
I
Jesus.
wrote this joke before Bruce Jenner came out as transgender.
It's not true.
This
the
is
joke wouldn't
when
make any sense.
he was rumored to have his Adam's apple
Dead namer.
removed. And they showed a picture of him in the car, I believe wearing nail polish or something else. So I said, so the joke was, what's going on with Bruce Jenner? Like, it looks like he went from the cover of Wheaties to the cover of Fruit Loops. Now,
that's a real zinger. Holy shit. How long? That's years of work.
Because we didn't know he was trans. Now it's not. So I have since taken that out of my act. Now, as far as me doing jokes about transgender, and this is an emotional moment, when my son told me.
Hold on. Because I want to hear Cardiff's point here. But that's how you know it's a genuinely emotional moment. Like I've cried on air before once. And you know how you knew it was genuine? I said, gang, tears coming. Buckle up. Everyone stop what they're doing and get ready for a lot of emotion to come out. It's not that it just pours out of you uncontrollably and you're embarrassed by it after. It's that you're like, everyone brace yourselves.
Right, here it comes.
You're about to see some real human emotion here.
Yeah, I hope you can handle it. Look, if you haven't broken down on your own show once or twice, then you're really not a creator. Okay.
Guys, strap in here because I'm about to be so human. You're not going to be able to.
It's gonna be crazy.
You're not going to know what happened to you.
I'm looking now at a box of Fruit Loops. Bruce Jenner looks nothing like Toucan Sam. What's the joke? I don't get it.
Excellent point by Cardiff. And that's what I wanted to talk about. That's why I said the timeline doesn't add up, because the one of the other punchlines he has is that about Caitlyn Jenner being trans, and he says, folks, that takes a pair of balls. And it's like, well, John, okay, let's say it was before she was officially trans, whatever you want to say. The joke was about Bruce Jenner being trans, whether it was Caitlyn Jenner yet or whatever. The joke was at the expense of being trans, and you can't now say, well, it's because he was wearing nail polish. It's like, no, you're again trying to change the argument, and you are not smart enough to not let us realize that you're doing that.
In order to close that joke, also, I think he needs to actually add Toucan Sam into the joke. Right? Because he's referring to the image. He went from the cover of Wheaties to he went from the cover of
Fruit
Wheaties.
You're calling him a fruit, is what you're saying, while also simultaneously saying how progressive you are.
Right.
But and again, I don't have a single fucking. If you want to still call him Bruce Jenner and do a 1 hour one-man show about calling it, saying how trans is mental, whatever the fuck you want to say, I don't give a fuck. My point is, when I start to give a fuck is when you scold other people for making those jokes, like John has over and over again, and kind of made it your sole crusade. Is like, I'm going after these people because they've made fun of my kids. It's like, well, then you can't make those same jokes, John. Everyone's someone's kid, John.
Right.
So let's hear him finish this out. That was the end of the clip, right? Sounds good.
I've been practicing.
What is Carter's favorite history of comedy podcast?
Why are you laughing? Especially the Abbott and Costello episode.
I thought you hate that show.
I go with the wind sometimes, John.
He's flitty. Say you're flitty. He's flitty.
That was
What
a
did he
great
say?
ad from Dave. Thank you there.
What did he say?
I'm Flinty or something. Or Cardiff's Flinty, I guess. But
I go with the wind sometimes, John.
He's flitty. Say you're flitty. He's flitty.
Flitty. Oh, Flitty.
But here's where I mean, I just like that Cardiff is so clearly fucking with him that he's like, my favorite history of comedy podcast. Why are you laughing? As a matter of fact, the show I trashed 10 minutes ago. But this is the mind of John Melendez, where he doesn't scrutinize that at all. He says like, I thought you hated that show. Why do you think that, John? Because 5 minutes ago, Cardiff said he hated the show.
Right. He believes everything right out of the gate.
Yes.
And runs with it.
You literally, it's, this would be John's so dumb, I said this on WATP, that it would make for a horrible sitcom character, because you would get one of those bits where it's like, hey, John, the sky is red today. And he'd be like, oh, really? Is it red? I didn't know that. And he'd be like, actually, it's green. And he'd be like, you got to be kidding me. It changed already? And in a sitcom, you wouldn't believe that there's a human being like that. So you'd be like, this is a dumb show. But John is like that.
Well, I know you don't see a lot. I don't know if you've ever seen The Young Ones. I know I've mentioned some British comedy earlier.
So. Oh, no.
The Young Ones is another British comedy, and there is a character on there named Vivian. Okay. To me, John is very much like this character. I watch a lot of British TV. I think it's funny.
Yes, John does fit in with British comedy more than American, for sure.
Right.
He is David Brent.
Right. Why do I have to make the tea?
Yeah, well, he is much more David Brent than Michael Scott, because David Brent's a little bit of an asshole. And I think that's John, where it's like tougher to like David Brent than Michael Scott.
No redeeming qualities. That is
not a one.
Right.
Not a one all the way to the horizon line.
All right, what's next?
evolution and proof.
Oh, well, this is, John's, again, simultaneously. He's evolved over time, but also proving that he's always been right about everything. So it's like, at one time he was wrong and he's changed, but also he's always been right.
Whatever jokes they were, obviously I realized after the fact they were inappropriate and begged. I'll just call him. I don't want to even give him a disparaging name. I'll just say, I just called Artie's manager.
This is another thing. Hold on one second. This is another thing John does that bugs me endlessly. Earlier in the show, he said Dan's name. He said Dan Filato. And then he's like, oh, wait, you know what? I'm not even going to say that. I'm going to give him a different name. It's like, but John, you're not white. You're not the Men in Black. You're not erasing our memory.
The penny's been dropped, sir.
Right. What's done is done. And then I think when I mentioned that, and Cardiff pointed out that he said the name like Joni Goldstein or something like that, which I don't know who that is. But he goes, Joni Goldstein. Wait! Oh, damn. I said I wouldn't say a name. Well, that's not her full name. Which I guess maybe she got married or something, but...
Well, I mean, it's just further evidence of his goldfish brain, right? He just, if it hits the surface, he's going to go right to it, you know?
But it's talking about how smart he is. Like, you can't beat this. You can't mess with this mind. He's a guy that is begging for Cardiff's real name. He's like, give me your real name. And then time and time again, while he's talking to Cardiff, will say blurt out a name that's not supposed to be said on air. And then be like, who knows what his name is?
He's like the low-key, sneaky doxer, with the watches in his jacket. He just flashes them open. I got him here for you. Well.
Right. All right, let's continue.
Artie's manager. Let's leave it at that. Mm-hmm. And our Artie's producer. I just said, "Oh shit! You know what? I shouldn't have made those jokes. They're inappropriate. Could you please not air it?" That's according to my pal, Lady K, and that's just
Hold on, again,
learning.
In the middle of this discussion where he's talking about how he's evolved and his opinion has changed on trans jokes, and while he's saying he doesn't make trans jokes anymore, he throws in Lady K. Now, if I may, John, what is the joke in calling Carl Lady K if it's not wouldn't it be hilarious if this guy was actually a woman? If that's not the imagine calling this person with a beard a lady's name, that'd be fucking hilarious. While he's saying, "Listen, I don't do trans jokes anymore."
I'm a changed man.
Yeah.
And
that's just the truth of what happened, and it seems reasonable to me.
Look, Howard Stern was in blackface. Okay, he used the N-word. Now I use it in reference to a
Fireworks?
bottle rocket that I.
Okay, good.
I thought he said, "Now I use it." Like, but now listen.
He uses it still for the fireworks?
In my rap career, I use it often.
The N-word chaser rocket?
That's the point he's about to make. Is this?
Okay.
Yeah.
At least he's being honest right now. This is I was surprised when he started to talk about this.
I have it saved. There was a firework ad that actually used that word to those fireworks. So
What?
for those who think that I was somehow making it up, I can
ran on
prove it to
CBS
you.
Sunday mornings.
That's a bicoastal thing, because I can't.
It was right next to the National Enquirer, the N-word chasers.
You pick them up, you get yourself a Snickers bar, a National Enquirer, and a couple of N-word chasers.
Yeah, and you get the 30% off of your grape juice when you get those.
A dirty old rotting banana.
And some Welch's.
Show it on the screen.
Definitely don't. But if you see it, you can. I mean, you can show people. You
I
can
would
tell
have to
people what
blur
it
it
is.
out, right?
Yeah, if you could blur it out.
Why would you show, John, ask yourself, as a human being, why show it and blur it out? Who is that for?
There's no point. This exists, but it
Obviously,
doesn't.
I realized after the fact they were inappropriate and begged. I'll just call them. I don't want to even give them a disparaging name. I'll just say I just called Artie's manager. I'm just say Artie's manager. Let's leave it at that. And or Artie's producer. I just
Oh my God.
said, "Oh shit, you know what? I shouldn't have made those jokes. They're inappropriate. Could you please not air it?" That's according to my pal.
So he's admitting
Lady
to
K.
it, but also not. He's like, I did these things according to Carl, who lies about everything. So it's like, why are you apologizing? If Carl's making everything up, why are you like, listen, I did these things according to Carl, but I'm about to address them?
Well, he started to talk about the firework and that it was an ad. So I was just doing a little quick search, and I found an ad that says, "These racist collectibles will make your skin crawl." So that's what you get when you search this particular term. I'm
just hear their
curious to find this
spokesperson,
ad.
John Melendez.
Yeah.
Hello, for $19.99.
Oh my goodness.
And let's
we've
not-
got N-word commemorative coins.
And that's
Here, I'm going to put this in the private chat. This link.
That's just that's just me learning.
Yeah,
And
that's just the truth of what happened, and it seems reasonable to me.
look, Howard Stern was in blackface. Okay, he used the N-word.
Taking Howard
Now,
down. With
I
him.
use it.
I know,
in
really?
reference
Throw him under the bus. How da do da
to
day?
a bottle
I
rocket
remember
I
that.
could show you. I have it saved. There was a firework ad that actually
Who's
used
arguing
that
this?
word to those fireworks. So for those who think that I was somehow making it up, I could prove it to you.
That's a bicoastal thing, because I can't even get fireworks in California, and I knew that was.
We don't get N-word chasers out here.
I'm imagining like a
Hard to
Nickelodeon
find.
type. I'm imagining like those old you guys are different than me in age, but if you remember like Nickelodeon GAC commercials and shit like that.
Oh God.
I imagine just the N-word chasers where kids are like going wild, running down the street.
We got a lot of spick chasers out here, though. We got those.
That was sad in the 90s. We had to downgrade to those. After the Rodney King beatings.
Yeah, very. They're all worried about it when they lit it on fire. It's crazy. You know, those Koreans were standing on the roof, and they were spray painting on their door, "Brack owned" with an R.
But also,
It's true.
but those were the days.
Yeah, let me tell you something.
But also, this is a straw man argument, another straw man argument that John has built, because no one's presenting this. The N-word chaser argument is something people brought up because John was saying, I never use words like this. And they were like, oh, really? Well, how about these drops? And that's where he's now built this defense of people change and times change. So he's going on this rant again to distract us from the original point that John did a podcast where he trashes his kids. That's what all this is about.
A long time ago. It's just.
I don't know if I could show it on the screen.
Look at his
Definitely
single.
don't, but if you see it, you can.
He is hunt and pecking his keyboard. Look at him.
I mean, you can show people. You can tell people what
it
it
out, right?
Yeah, if you could blur it out.
Then why show it?
And I know that's what they call it.
All right, I've turned my screen black, but here's the evidence.
We call it black screen.
Show you this ad. Here it is. Well, I don't know if I can't show this because it's a part of
non-existent.
history, isn't it?
That's why I can't show.
Yeah, I mean, I guess it is. Like kind of like a news thing. I mean, and like a commentary thing. I guess. I mean, you're not showing it.
Why is he asking Dave as if Dave has any fucking idea about YouTube's regulations?
Yeah, it's right here in section 4, paragraph A.
To promulgate hate. So I mean,
no. Well, you know what? It's
What
pretty
was that word?
blurry. You know,
Promulgate?
So
Yeah, something like that.
this is my proof. Okay.
Okay, that's a word. All right.
This was an ad for fireworks. All right. This is what they
Proof of what?
In
Now,
1952.
see that ad.
This is my proof that I wasn't
You
the
know
only
what?
racist.
it's actually good because it's. No, I can't see it. I see the ad. It's very blurry, but I can
Very
definitely.
blurry.
You can make out the first part of that if you kind of get in there a little bit.
And you too can buy yourself some N-word chasers.
Yeah, just get on the phone with Spencer Fireworks.
Here's the advertisement. Ask for Michelle. She's very good. She'll hook you up.
And just use Stuttering John for your 20% discount code.
That's promo code Stuttering John to save 10%.
But that's only for the N-word chasers. They're trying to off them, if you know what I mean. We're going to promulgate that.
It is all, speaking of fireworks, it's all smoke and mirrors he's putting up. Like, the arguments he's having aren't real. And this is why John's like, oh, I beat Carl. No, you lost to Carl in an argument and then gave your counter when he wasn't there and are taking some sort of victory lap for, like, getting over him on points that he's not on the show for.
What year do you think John's brain smoothed over from the booze? Like, just became totally smooth. No divots.
2016.
That's about right. That's about what I was going to say, Hackride. That's about the right area, I think. Although,
big
when was he working for
deterioration.
Stephanie Miller? Around that time?
Exactly. The Stephanie Miller was the start of the downfall. And you can hear more about that on the Hack Ride Puzzle Box with my host, Krista, who worked with Stuttering John.
Ooh, now I'm
the Stephanie
interested in
Miller
hearing
show.
that.
Yes.
Yeah, go.
She knows nothing.
Subscribe to Hackride.
Yes.
Get on there and get that sub going.
Yes.
And hit the
subscribe
like
to Zero
button.
Dark Tony and this channel. Everyone.
Up next is covering his ass.
Yeah, so this he wants to make sure that, God forbid, this audio ever gets out. Hopefully, Dan is going through the files now.
Subscribe
But
to
if
me
there's
if
a-
you want to be persecuted by a ton of, well, it's not even a ton. It's just a few crazy people. No worries. Never mind.
We'll get to the Scientologists. Don't worry. We'll get to the people that are going to take
Scary.
Tony down. I'm helping him,
lot of
actually. He
them.
doesn't know that. All right. So, yeah, John's covering his ass here in case that audio ever does come out. He wants everyone to know that he was on the right side of history.
When it comes to my transgender jokes, I don't do them anymore. I don't do those jokes anymore. I realized they were inappropriate. That's why I asked Artie's
Because
producer
people
to
on social media told you.
take
Right.
them out.
Please sign my petition to run for senator.
And I thank you, Artie's producer, for not.
Hold on, pause real quick. That's an Tony, you remind me of something. If he ran now, no, he wouldn't have a shot. but like there would be an actual push. Everyone in the Dabbleverse would be lobbying for this man. He'd have more of a shot of getting elected. I wish he would make another run for office.
Well, I mean, I think they're going to show up at a lot of his rallies with a bunch of those N-word chasers. I'll tell you that right now.
Well, I mean,
Those
I
are
know,
gonna be popping
I know a
off.
place where you can get him. John just advertised for him, so
That's right.
Putting it
Ladies
out.
and gentlemen, right down to Spencer Fireworks, ladies and gentlemen.
And Dan, I won't say his name, but Nas.
see, he does it. Dan, I won't say his name.
If you know, or I'll call him Stan.
Yeah, not Nat, because that's like
What a
that's
smoke
another-
screen.
It's a
Oh, it's
double
just-
entendre. Yeah.
It's just
I
just
know
to
what
let
it
us back.
Hold on. Hackrat, defend your boy there. Does he know what double entendre means?
Let's. DG likes the brown liquor, so we don't know how much he's had at this point. Let's just say that he's probably 4 or 5 fingers.
Stan, which of course is double entendre, not just another white name.
All right, Stan, I really don't have a problem with you. I appreciate that you took that down, and I'm sorry, and I hope that I hope you don't release it because it doesn't matter because I'm gonna say
Now, just a day and a half ago, and this is why I think John came back. A day and a half before this, John said it doesn't exist. He never did that podcast. And now he's saying, Dan, he's appealing to his senses. He's not saying, well, he's saying his name and then not saying it. So he's trying to keep this man private and saying, please don't release this. So I
Don't
can
release
only
this
imagine.
public thing as I try to signal to you privately through my public forum.
Right. Yeah. I can only imagine if John is going through all this trouble of trying to cover his ass. I can only imagine how bad this podcast was.
He's the guy. He's like, I put his email on this T-shirt. Remind me
And you can buy it right now.
right now. It's got his email and everything on it. I didn't know if I should do it or not, but I did.
But it's very clever because the shirt says his real name is not Dan. So that way no one thinks it's his real name.
that and my kids. Oh, this is what I want to say. Then after my kids scolded me for calling Knight Greta.
Okay, hold on. I'm sorry. I should have set this part up a little better. So John earlier says that and it was half a genuine moment because you almost feel like John is a human being when he says stuff like this. Because believe me, I get it. I grew up in a world that is different today based on how you're allowed to talk about gender and all that. So, like, there's shit I could say that'll get me taken off YouTube, which has become like a source of income for me. So legitimately, I sympathize with John and trying to navigate those waters and everything. And having a kid in that situation has to be 10 million times more difficult than I can possibly grasp. I get it. John's had a lot of learning to go through.
Well, I mean, he's trying to row a boat whilst at the same time pouring water into it. I mean,
yes, that's the
he's-
problem. Because he says earlier that there's tough stuff because he dead named his kid by accident. He used the wrong name after they had transitioned. Greta instead of Knight or something like that.
He's good at that.
Yeah. So yes, exactly. So again, and Cardiff, I think, made the point. Don't you see why I don't want to give you my real name? But John used the wrong name for his kid, and his kids were like, "Dad, what? That's not. Come on, be better than that." I guess they called him out for it, which I sympathize with John in that moment. Now, here's why I don't sympathize with him. Because even with his kids, he's looking to get some hollow victory to hold over their head.
Over the kid's head.
Yes. Yeah, listen to this.
Me for calling Knight Greta. One time, Lily accidentally said, "Are you inviting Greta?" And I went, "Oh, you said, oh, Dad, stop pointing that out." And I'm like, "Well, hey, that's what you did to me." The Phantom Dentist, thanks for $4. How much would it take you for the trash kids? I would never trash.
How old is the kid that he's talking about?
I don't know. I think they're all in their early 20s now. I think the youngest is 17. Yeah.
And as far as those transgender comments that allegedly are out there or whatever that my buddy Lady K was talking about,
He just leaned to show the graphic behind him. Do you see that?
What's that?
Pull back just about 3 seconds.
Horrible, which I'm sure I might
He
have
just
made horrible.
when he was Carl's face is behind him. He's trying to flex that graphic, but he's blocking it with his head. And as he's
Yes.
talking, he realizes it. And then you see what he
Yes.
does. He moves to show after he says Lady K. If you could run that back. Just to
But
see
he's
it.
also saying, while he's talking about these trans comments, he's also saying again, Lady K, which is completely undercutting everything he's talking about.
Right. Look, there's Lady K right there.
My buddy Lady K was talking
He
about
could reverse. Okay.
if I said anything horrible, which I'm sure I might have made horrible, inappropriate jokes, I apologize. And that's all I can do. And I'll say that I evolved and I'll never make them again.
That's big of him to kind of admit, because he must know it's really bad. That's why I hope Dan Filato is vigorously looking through his audio, because it sounds like it's rough. But
it's still very virtual signally.
Very,
The
very,
apology.
very virtue signally, and also the idea that he throws in there, and this is what narcissists like John do, is they have to throw in like, my kids made a mistake. While he's saying, like, I love my kids so much, I would never make fun of them or anything. Hey, they fucked up once. Don't forget that. It's like someone.
When you pick your parents in heaven and stuff, that's where they really fucked up.
Yeah. Like, my dad once reached out to me because it came up on like Kirk's show a bunch that like he and I aren't particularly close. And he called me one day to be like, like, I know we're not that close, but there's a lot of stuff I did do for you as a kid. And I was like, well, this isn't really like an apology. What is this? And that's what John's doing right there, where he's like, I'm terribly sorry. But my kid, they make mistakes. Don't forget that.
Jeez. Right. He's unbelievable with his kids using them to make his points. And,
That's why I wanted to do this, because I felt it deserved a closer look. John thought he got away with this horse shit.
But wasn't it Chad that really opened this door for this community to start doxing everybody? Isn't that what started it, if I'm not mistaken?
Well, I would say the first time I remember it coming up is John claiming that people were trying to get his gigs canceled.
Yeah.
And like, none of the shows told anyone to do that. I'm sure people did, because people are fucking idiots.
Yeah.
But there's only so many times. And I was talking about this recently somewhere, but it's like, my whole thing is when people will go after like Barstool a lot for this, or the Minifans, any passionate fan base like that. People will say like, oh, Dave Portnoy is responsible for what his fans do. No, if Dave Portnoy said, hey guys, attack the New York Times or whatever, then he would be responsible. Short of that, you're not responsible for anything your fans do.
Mm-hmm.
John was the one who was literally telling people, go leave this comedy club or so-and-so bad Yelp reviews because they're my enemy now. John was the one doing that, not any of the people he names. But we have one more clip, right?
Yes, Mike. We have come to the piste de resistance.
So this is where it was really rough to watch John, because anyone else I would say, oh, they're having a human moment. But don't forget, this is John trying to cover his ass and make us all feel bad for him in case that audio of him and Artie Lange ever does come out.
Well, you can't compete with this thing right here behind these liver spots. There's no competing with that.
It's a brain, and it's a brain filled with a lot of emotions, as we're about to see.
And the hardest thing about divorce is being a father and going through a divorce. Now, I'll always love Susanna. There won't be a day in my life that I won't love the mother of my children.
Well,
I still think she's a very beautiful woman.
Powerful stuff.
I miss her sometimes. And
the emotional John.
This is where he's not as bad an actor as we thought. And one too many, he wasn't able to display this much range.
He's really, really bringing it here. It's like Sophie's Choice.
Hold on.
It's okay, man. It's all right. I told you. Like, you just got to be real, brother. That's all. That's all that's important. So,
well, sadly, DG, I don't think he is, but.
All right, hold on.
There was a little Phil moment there on the waterworks.
The hardest part is raising kids as a single dad.
I'm a single dad.
You didn't.
Yeah.
Right.
You didn't raise kids. Your wife did.
He is sad for his wife that she had to raise them.
Right. Oh, I didn't realize you had such sympathy for the wife.
So much work.
Because John has talked nonstop about how much pussy he's gotten since his divorce, how he's always out drinking. He's promoted that he's at the Pickwick pub every day at 3 p.m. Like, he has not raised his kids as a single dad.
Yes.
I see them sometimes.
That's just like this dirty little fish and chips bar on Ventura Boulevard in Woodland Hills is that place. And then
This
there's
is-
another one. The same owners have a couple of like British pubs around town.
Yeah.
Yes.
Ugh.
Yes, Zero Dark. I don't think people understand the area John lives in. We both are from LA, and that area, it brings a smile to both of our faces.
You're getting
Right,
too
it's like-
geographical for me, but
Yes,
It's right next
yes,
to a Del Taco,
yes.
oh well, excuse me. But
across from a Wendy's on
John's-
Ventura Boulevard. There, yeah.
this is literally the fucking Chris Rock bit where he's like, I take care of my kids. What, you want a cookie? That's what John's doing. Is like, I mean, you guys, if you have no sympathy for me now, wait until I tell you I raised my children. Oh, bravo, John.
Yes.
Congratulations.
Yes, I told you this in the chat, Blind Mike, but narcissists tend to cry about themselves and their lives more than anyone else. Empathy
Yes.
for others? Fuck no. But
Yeah.
I stepped on my toe in 3rd grade and the waterworks come.
I'll tell you
Right,
something.
yeah, right.
The tears that are coming out right now are not from the subject he's talking about.
Right.
Absolutely not.
It's from the idea what will happen to him if that audio ever comes out is what's encouraging those tears.
This is for his bosses at LAUSD. See, I cried. I was sad. Give me my
I
job back.
apologized. I don't make jokes.
Very empathetic.
It's hard not seeing them every day. Because what happens in the mediation is that I was doing 12 hours at the Tonight Show as a writer.
Mm-hmm.
Hardest
And
working man
when
in
they
showbiz.
asked me, what, what do you want in time spent? And I realized that
I said nothing.
there's no way I could spend.
I took that piece of paper and I threw that paper plane right across the room at them.
I realized there was no amount of time I could spend with my kids that would be enough. So I said 0.
I said, you know what? Pickwick Pub.
Why bother? You tell me a number that I have to settle for and I'll agree to it.
It's like I see them at the bottom of every glass.
They're always with me. They're not dead if you find a way to remember that. It's like, no, John, you're just losing custody. You can
Right.
still see them.
I could drive by their school when they're playing soccer.
Wave, keep going.
Wave. I'm not allowed actually on the school property, but I can be on the public street.
Well, it's sad. Well, let's hear the end of this clip. I forget. He goes on to talk about the stepdad. I don't know if it's in this clip, but let's hear the rest.
Oh, she got remarried?
Yeah.
Oh.
We pitched every morning at 9 a.m. to Jay. We got up at 7. We edited all our pitches because they were. So we had
Fucking
to pitch,
guy is juicy.
and we edited it on Final Cut Pro. Just because we really want to get the joke through to Jay and to Jack Cohen, our head writer.
Where does all that moisture come from?
And I was a damn good writer on that show. And Jack Cohen said, "I wish I had 10 Johns." That's his quote. Jay
He didn't
came up
mean
to
you.
me at
That's
least
in the midst of this tearful apology to his family.
Total narcissism.
And they said I was more influential on the Tonight Show than Johnny Carson. They said, John, your wave over to the couch made so many stars. It's amazing that he's able to
God.
shoehorn his achievements into this, where he's begging for his family preemptively.
He shoehorns his achievements into other people's achievements.
Yes.
Yes, it is minus one. It's minus 100 that if you invite Stuttering John to speak at a funeral, he will mention his credits.
As we lay him to rest, I just wanted. This reminds me a lot of the Kareem Abdul-Jabbar roast.
I'm not saying I'm bigger than Carson. I'm saying we were on the same playing field.
I'm just saying he called me when he retired.
John, do you want the job? I'm working for Howard. I can't do it.
You're doing a great job. You're fucking awesome. You hear that, Lady K?
And you're my best friend. And I love you more than my wife and kids, John. That's what his words, not mine. He really is unbelievable. Like the narcissism shines through. And it's tough.
Let me
because
cry about my children and then tell you how much I am needed.
I went back and forth a little with someone in the comments who I thought made a good point. On our episode of Why You Laughing about the worst comedian in the world, Tom Myers, I said that I wish he could play along a little bit more because I think it would give us more Tom Myers. He would be more involved with shows and stuff like that. But like, it would be better for Tom Myers. It would be more lucrative for him. And someone in the comments was like, don't you understand? If he was self-aware, if he was more self-aware and able to play along, he wouldn't be Tom Myers. And I totally get that point. Where I don't fully agree is I think you can be a narcissist like John, but also know enough of why people find that interesting to joke about it a little bit. Does that make sense? And maybe I'm being delusional. Maybe that's not true. But I feel like it could be learned by guys like John and Tom Myers how to market themselves in a way and not get so defensive when people come at them or make fun of them. Does that make sense?
Mm. I mean, that's just the nature of who he is. I mean, anything. Look, one of these goon qualities is the people who you say doing one thing and yelling exactly about the thing that they're doing to someone else. The hypocrisy, right?
Of course, yeah.
What an aptly named channel he has.
It's unbelievable.
The program.
The delusion to name your channel that is unbelievable.
It's Hypocrisy Police, right?
Yeah.
Maron. What is wrong with this kid?
All right. Well, that's what we have for Stuttering John for today. I'm thinking the further we get into this hack ride,
Yes.
well, you know, let's play the Tom Myers, the Mark Norman thing first.
Hold on one sec before you
see where
record.
we stand.
I'm like Snoop Dogg. I only need weed to function.
Okay. Oh, that's the other thing. I'm recording with two guys who are on the West Coast, so we started this at 9:30 a.m. their time, and they're both high off their asses. So
Yes.
I'm on it. I gotta say though, Hack Ride, we're deep into this. I'm enjoying the experience, buddy. I think you're doing a great job.
Oh, thank you, Blind Mike. Yes, I'm doing well. I have made some mistakes behind the scenes, but no one can see them, so it does not matter.
Perfect. Honestly, I think, would you be interested in being, you know, coming on, playing some drops, stuff like that? We could use you as a third guy in the broadcast.
Of course. I've always wanted to do it.
All right, so during the break, they informed me of some of the names of some of the items on the website that John was referring to that sells these racist collectibles. And I told them I think we'll wait for Craig to be back because he'd hate to miss the opportunity to say some of those words on air. So
Yes, Craig will love it.
we'll save that for another week. But real quick, I wanted to talk about a subject. I don't know how much you guys will be interested in this.